Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, and you're listening to Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. This 30-minute podcast features a new author interviewed by me every single day, 365 days a year, for about 30 minutes. I am also the publisher for Zibby Books, which publishes 12 books a year in fiction and memoir. Our books are already out now. You can check it out on zibbybooks.com. And we have a magazine called Zibby Mag, where we have lots of wonderful essays and lifestyle features. That's at zibbymag.com. We have classes at zibbyclasses.com. And I recently opened a bookstore in LA called Zibby's Bookshop at 1113 Montana Avenue at 11th Street in Santa Monica. I hope that you are able to enjoy some of our other offerings. But this here podcast is the basis of all of it and started in 2018. And no matter what I do, this is basically my favorite thing. Enjoy. Alice Carrière is the author of Everything, Nothing, Someone, a memoir. Alice is a graduate of Columbia University. This is her first book. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and Amagansett, New York. Welcome, Alice. Thank you so much for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay.
And congratulations on your novel. How fabulous and scary. I might be projecting with that last adjective, but
it is scary. And I was just doing copy edits this morning and I'm like, I don't think this is very good. I don't know. Now I want to rewrite the whole thing. So anyway, I just started changing everything and I know I have to stop.
No, I totally get it. I'm in the process of recording my audiobook right now and I can't change it, but I want to.
Yeah,
and I'm resisting every urge to text my editor, like, what have we done? But I'm told it's very good. So I'll just trust everyone
You don't need to change anything for your book. I promise. As a reader, I can stand by that. So why don't you tell listeners what your book is about, when and why you decided to write the memoir, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, first of all, I like to think of it as a coming of age story about identity and human connection and family.
Yep.
A survival thriller about dissociative disorder and psychiatric malpractice, and an unlikely love story. But I think the title is super helpful for it kind of lets me take you on a tour of the whole book. So everything, right? So I was the daughter of two deeply self-destructive, self-absorbed artists who believed they kind of lived in an alternate universe where the power of their minds could shape reality. And everything was abstracted, turned into art, including me. So my mother was a renowned painter, and she was a victim of an overzealous clinician who implanted memories of ritualized child sex abuse and murder. And that really caused her to hide in her work and be unable to connect with the people around her. And my father was a European film star who really treated parenthood as this radical philosophical experiment in the total annihilation of boundaries. So given this context...
I'm sorry to laugh. That's like, it's just such a great... I love how you describe that. Okay, anyway, go on.
It is the only appropriate reaction. We might be crying by the end, but we'll get through all of the emotions. So basically, with these outsized characters in my life, they really felt like characters instead of people. I was really flooded by their desires, their deficits, and I became everything. An idea, a wife, a daughter, a mother. Then when I hit adolescence, a dissociative disorder arrived and it wiped out my identity. I couldn't recognize my face in the mirror. I didn't know where the words I spoke were coming from. I had no connection to my history, my body. I really believed I didn't exist. So I became nothing.
Crazy.
And, responding to this, psychiatrists kept prescribing more and more and more medications and convincing me that the few feelings that did manage to arise were pathological. And then coupled with a mother who didn't like to feel, that became the norm. So I was medicated farther and farther away from myself. And then writing was really the only tether to reality. And then when I met my now husband, my partner of 15 years, it was really his, and he's, also a recovering addict and alcoholic, his compassion, his kindness, he's virtuosic in loving. I mean, it's really incredible to see. He really taught me to turn outward and connect with people. And that helped me connect with my mother when she was diagnosed with dementia, with my father from whom I'd been estranged. And I became someone. So that's the book.
Oh, what a beautiful description. Oh my gosh. See, even the way you talk, it's like the way you write. It's like everything has so much feeling and energy and like a turn of phrase that's like really interesting and powerful. Anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was so taken with the details of your childhood and growing up. Like, you described the way you grew up in such vivid detail and in such your childhood was so unique. I mean, everybody feels their childhood was unique in this or the other, but yours for sure. I mean, when you talk about like creeping through these hallways and setting off alarms, trying to get to your dad. Meanwhile, I have to like still sleep next to my son. You know what I mean? Like 2 feet away. I'm like, how about I sleep down? No, sleep right there. And your trips to Germany with your grandparents and like the conversations with your dad and the stuff he would tell you about like the sexual relationships with your mom. And oh my gosh, just you try as a reader to put yourself in the shoes of you as a young girl. And like, how does someone cope with all of that? What happens next? How does that person grow up?
Well, what's so funny is that I actually, while I was writing it, I mean, I've been writing it for 15 years, but while I was writing it and working with my editor, I kept thinking that it was boring and not unique because it'd been so normalized for me. This chaos had been so normalized, and my editor would just, her jaw would be on the floor as I just said, well, should I add this other thing about him trying to bring my pet rat back to life? And,
oh my God, that scene. Oh my God. With like the tinfoil and the freezer and then oh my God, I could not believe that scene, actually. I'm glad you brought it up.
And it's so funny, the things that I would sort of, the anecdotes I would tell casually and thinking they were either endearing or funny, and they just go, oh my God, Alice. So it's been funny becoming reacquainted with my own history through the writing of this book. I'm kind of meeting myself for the first time in a lot of ways. So that's been really fascinating to find out ways in which my experience has been really universal, because I think there are a lot of things in the book people can relate to, but there are a lot of really crazy stories that, at the bare minimum will keep people entertained. So to answer how I got through it, I mean, it was really writing. It was, first of all, I would think in the third person when I was little. So I would metabolize that chaos through storytelling. And I would say, she is walking down the street, the rain falls on her jacket. And then I would be, sitting on a gurney, scribbling in a notebook. And writing really saved my life in a big, big way. And audiobooks too. I would populate my life with all of these characters. And it made me feel like I was in control. It made me feel not so alone. So
tell me more about the feeling you get from writing, like when you would tell the stories and when you would write, and like paint some pictures for me of like you writing now, you writing then, the 15 years to writing this book. Like, what does this writing session for you look like?
What a great question. So it really feels like I'm dropping into myself from a dizzying height. And that the air thickens enough for me to be able to breathe, because it really is, it's the place I feel safest. It's the place I feel competent. It's the place I feel that I have agency. It's the place that I can make decisions, because I hate decisions. I mean, really, from what to eat every night to what to wear to what to do with my life, I just hate decisions. So writing...
I'm better with big decisions than small decisions. For a while, I could not even I would like stand on a street corner and be like, should I go this way? Should I go that way? I'm just going to, no, think I'm going to go this way. No, actually, maybe I'll go to the store first. I don't know. Maybe I'll try this. But then it's like, should I move to LA? Yes, I should. Should I do this? Should I yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Oh, I totally get that. I totally and absolutely. Do you regret your decisions at all?
I rethink every decision. Every decision all the time. Should I have done that? Oh, back then, like, I feel like if I can, and then I try to change most of my decisions. So now I'm like only buying refundable tickets at this point.
Yeah. And then you're sort of flabbergasted when you can't change the decision. You're like, this is life? Wait.
Well, to be honest, I was just saying this to somebody, like, because I'm so used to changing everything and like feeling like, oh, if I just do this, I'll get to perfection. You know what I mean? Like, this will be, like with loss, like you can't go back and change a thing. Illness, loss, anything. And you're like, oh yeah? So it turns out this is all a joke. I'm not in control of anything.
Exactly. The good old life, that joke that we all love. Yeah. But that's interesting because the book is a great deal about self-doubt. It's about all of the stories I was told about myself or told myself. Yep. And not knowing what the truth is and spending 37 years and 288 pages to not necessarily get to the truth, but to get to a moment where so many things, so many truths can exist simultaneously. Yep. And I can remain whole in the center of that realization. And I can honor other people's reality too. Because this book, I was estranged from my father for 13 years for many of the reasons that you mentioned of his inappropriateness, but also because of embellishments and lies that were told about him. And this book helped me find my way back to him and gave me back a relationship to my father. So that's also what writing does for me, is it connects me with other people. I feel like I raised this book and now the book is raising me.
Oh,
so it continues to connect me with people. I mean, us sitting right here and talking about it, it's so exciting, the power of storytelling.
So true. I know, without these books, it's like I would never have met the most interesting people in the world. It's amazing.
Yeah. Without this book, I wouldn't have met myself too.
Which is even better. Yes. Yeah. Amazing. When you summarized the therapeutic sort of re-immersion into childhood abuse of your mom, when I read that section, I was like, did this happen or did this not happen? Because you gave us evidence of some things and the family friends who were involved and all of that. And then I'm like, how do you even know? I mean, maybe that's the question overall. Like, how do we know what happened? How does she know? What do you think?
Exactly right. And also, how do we differentiate between instinct and, fear, or instinct and trauma, residual trauma? So I think, I almost said it doesn't matter what I think because it was her experience, but right. I think something happened. I think she was deeply, deeply, deeply hurt. And I think the experience of being deeply hurt was not livable for her, was not tolerable. So she had to create these elaborate, outlandish, unbelievable stories about, essentially a satanic sex cult that she was forced to participate in as a child. And because they were so enormous, the fact that she couldn't move beyond it made her less culpable for not being able to move beyond it. Because it's so enormous, how can anyone contend with a history of being forced to bury the body of a 7-year-old on a beach? How can anyone get over that? So the fact that she, continued to hide, continued to drink, continued to protect herself in destructive ways, that made it more understandable in a way to herself. But I think she was just so afraid. And writing this book, I wrote myself into a place of deep, deep empathy for her. I mean, I can't imagine. And I'm proud of her in a lot of ways. The anger I felt has transformed into compassion. And I wish I could tell her all of that. I mean, next month will be the year anniversary of her death. Oh. And I was able to share the book with her before she died and the cover and all of that. But I really wish that we could have been peers and we could have spoken about everything I've learned from writing this book.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Now that the book is out, in the book, you talk about, not just seeing yourself again, but also the people surrounding this whole sort of operation, right? How you have like the image you have with the fire department being called and the flames, right? Going up when there's a party, like it was not just you and your parents and your nanny and whatever, there were a lot of bystanders who were going to the bathroom in front of you and like so who are all these people and, the sick people who would come and recover and addicts and whatever. Where are they now? Do they see themselves in this book? Are you still in touch? Like the whole extended scene.
I'm in touch. Some of them have died, unfortunately, and I am in touch with many of them. And they're super proud of me. So that feels really good. And it's been really nice to, I was grossly, grossly over-medicated by the psychiatric community for over a decade. And to the point where, being on so many stimulants and downers and everything else in between, it was like a personality growing on top of my personality. And I couldn't listen. I couldn't be a good friend. I was hostile. it was terrible. So I wasn't able to connect with people the way I wanted to. So now I'm friends with all of my mom's friends. I'm friends with, almost everyone who's mentioned in the book, the nice people. And it feels really good to have these relationships with them on my own terms when I'm healthy or in the process of getting healthier and healthier. Because I'm never really fully cured from the human condition. But it's been one of the great joys of my life to rediscover these relationships and have a happy ending. Oh, nice. That's why the acknowledgement section is so long, because there's so many wonderful people in my life and I love them all. And I'm so grateful and lucky.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I'm also so proud of my dad, because he's been so wonderful with facing this book, being out in the world. I mean, it's not easy to have something like this written about you. And he's been so supportive and so wonderful. And I'm really proud of him.
Did you worry about it? Like, did you worry that it was too much? Like, did you worry
too much? That's like the motto that's like my family crest motto, too much.
Okay.
But yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, it's interesting. No, it's interesting. It's a great question because, well, in terms of the honesty level, right? I mean, you've read it, the things I reveal in what graphic detail. And it's really funny because it never occurred to me while I was writing it that I could say anything but everything. Mm-hmm. It didn't occur to me that I could scale it back until it was too late. So, now that the book is going to be out in the world, I'm kind of going, oh my God, what have I done?
As a read, it's great. As a reader, but this is like you and your life and, you have to like bop along and keep going after I put the book down. So.
Exactly right. So, but in terms of my father and it being too much, the answer is no. I never really thought of that because I think in the middle of all of the sort of uncomfortable stuff, there was that kernel of trust because we are all artists in my family. So it kind of never occurred to me that I couldn't pour everything of who I am and everything I have into my work. It's what my mother did. It's what my father did. And I trusted that. Mm-hmm. I trusted that intrinsic part of us that understands that need to divulge, that need to figure it out. Yeah. And I really tried in the book for it not to be an indictment. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really the only time it's an indictment is of the American psychiatric complex. That's really my lingering anger. Yeah. Nothing against my father, nothing against my mother. So I'm really glad I went all the way. And I think it was only, and I say this in the book, it was only because we could say, anything to each other that we could say everything we needed to.
Yeah.
So it's part of it.
After all your experiences with the Psychiatric Association and medication and all this, where are you now with medication? Are you medicated? You don't have to answer this. How do you feel about it in general? So
I think responsible medicating can save lives. Good therapy saves lives. So, and I think also getting well it's a collaborative effort and it's a developing story. I think what happened with me, and I can't speculate about what motivated, let's call him Dr. Serini, as I call him in the book, what motivated him. I hope it wasn't just, paid by the pharmaceutical industry. I don't know. I can't speculate. But I think there was a rigidity and he told me I'd have to be on medication the rest of my life. And told me that I was bipolar. And I have not been on medication for bipolar disorder for almost a decade, and I've been completely symptom-free. So, and that's scary to realize. It's scary when I started going off of the Adderall, it scared me how easy it was, and it scared me how much I liked myself off of it because I was just doing what I was told. And what I was told was to take so much medication that it gave me a psychotic episode and it made me overdose. So I continue to work on myself. I mean, I'm never going to be done. And all I know is that I feel really good. And even when I don't feel well, I'm doing well. And because I think that's an important distinction.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I have an incredible partner.
Yeah. Tell me more about the state of affairs there.
the state of affairs. I mean, I'm still, after 15 years, I'm still in pinch me mode. He's so kind. He's so supportive. He's so creative. He's so handsome, blah, 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 all the adjectives. But what's great, the story I love is the editing process involves me reading the entire manuscript out loud to him 7 times. And he will pace back and forth and he'll go, wait, what are you trying to say? And then we shout words at each other until one of us goes, oh, that's it. And then we high five. And we're so enmeshed in so many ways. I mean, we like the same things. And now, we collaborate and we work together and he helps me in that most intimate sphere, which is my work. So I'm so grateful. I'm really lucky. And I'm really grateful for him. His name's Gregory. I don't know if I mentioned that, but he's a real life person, not just a character in a book. And he is that great. I don't exaggerate in the book. Honestly, so that's really helped. I mean, he's in recovery. He's in the program. I'm sober too. I'm not in the program. So I get sort of a contact high, for lack of a better term in this context, from, his work in the program. And also he was really patient with me while I was getting sober and I wasn't sober for a long time. So that's been really helpful, having someone who has that patience, has that insight, and can commiserate with me about how freaking weird being alive is, just... I feel like that's an important part.
It is all completely bizarre, crazy, and also anyway, I won't even go to the meaning of life with you. Anyway, but I agree.
Want to hear more about that on the next installment?
Yeah,
Zibby gets weird about life
next week on our discussion on the meaning of life. But no, that's all so wonderful. And after this whole thing, how was the publication process for you and going through that and selling the book and marketing the book and how has this all been?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's out August 29th.
Yeah.
So it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff. I love every moment of it. My fetish is the minutia, is the paperwork. I'm like, give me more questionnaires to fill out. Tell me, the print. I wanted to go and see the book being printed. I mean, this has been my dream since I was 6 years old. I have wanted to be a writer since I was 6. So I feel so honored, so privileged, so lucky, all the words, all the synonyms, just to be in this position. I mean, I can't believe it. And I mean, it took a long time. My incredible agent, Kim Witherspoon, scooped me up, I think 4 years ago. And then we rewrote. She helped me. She gave me some tips and I rewrote and I rewrote and I rewrote. And then my incredible goddess of an editor and publisher, Julie Grau at Spiegel and Grau, she saw me. She got it. And she's genius and the biggest delight to work with. I mean, we worked on Thanksgiving. We worked on Sundays. And I mean, this has been the best moments of my life. I am so happy that I get to sit here and talk about what I wrote and what I experienced. And I'm so grateful and I can't wait. And I'm scared. I'm scared out of my mind. I mean, my heart right now is pounding out of my chest. And, sometimes I'm scared I'm going to forget my own name, but, it's been great. And I'm learning, I did a panel and I said some pretty bonkers stuff. I don't know if you saw the panel, but it was about, some sex stuff. And I'm learning what's an overshare and what's an overshare. So I still can't believe that my dream has come true. And little Alice is just in tears of joy every minute. In fact, Gregory, I'm not a big crier, but Gregory, if he wants to help me ground myself in the moment and acknowledge all the beautiful things happening, he'll just start talking about little Alice.
Aww.
And he goes, what do you think little Alice would... I mean, I'm getting a little choked up. Just little Alice gets me every time because she's living her dream. And she almost gave up a bunch of times. So I'm really glad she didn't.
I'm really glad she didn't too. And I'm really excited for you and proud of the little Alice, what you've shared with the reader, that we know of you. And it's really wonderful and a huge accomplishment. And I'm really rooting for you and I'm very excited for you.
Thank you so much, Zibby. Thank you. This is also, pinch me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I hope.
And I loved talking to you.
I love talking to you too. I know. More to come on the meaning of life.
From the experts who know nothing.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
Yes. From the completely oblivious to everyone else.
Yeah.
All right. Well, keep me posted on stuff and stay in touch and good luck.
Amazing. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Okay. It was so great to meet you.
You too.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.